What's up, poker people? Today we're going to be playing a 1-3 no limit hold'em cash game session at Texas Card House. Okay, first hand of the session, I get deuce 3 suited under the gun and I raise it up to 20. Yep, that's my style. We get one caller. We're going to go heads up to the flop. We're going to need to hit something. Ooh, we spike a 3. This is a special episode of the vlog. I'm calling this the all talk episode. The player on my right is all talk. He will talk all day long about what he had, about what you had, about what he could have done, about what he thought you were going to do. But you'll see from the very first hand, I am targeting this player specifically. He plays way too many hands. I'm going to be raising and re-raising him all night long, and I want him to know it. I want him to think I'm going after him because he's going to make more mistakes.
Hey. Man, what the hell? 2-3. What?
He had the best hand though when he bet it.
We both had single shit.
No. He had a pair.
He had a pair. Okay, one pair.
He didn't have a pair. He had
Well,
the best
actually,
hand.
neither one of us, the board paired. It was ace king.
So that's a little bit of what you're going to hear in this all talk episode. Me and this guy are going to go back and forth a few times. I'm going to have to add some subtitles because we talk over each other. But it's all in good fun, a little bit of trash talk. He's actually a really nice guy.
You would have caught runner to beat him.
2-3 on that old board, yeah. Wow. Ace king, wow.
Oh, I have to I'm not 100%.
That's what they say.
Don't do it again.
They all say, I'm gonna do it over and over and over.
Hey, don't bet when you have the better hand.
Do it over and over.
I'm gonna over and over
can't scare me.
and over
Don't
and
ever bet
over.
when you have the better hand.
But don't think you're scared.
You seem scared.
I can't play every hand. I don't think you play every hand.
You play every, you are playing every hand. I can't play every hand as he limps in again for the 20th time.
If they gonna let me see a hand for $3, why not?
Can't
Come on, let me see it for $3.
Can't play every hand. I call.
18.
So as I mentioned, we're going to be targeting this guy on my right, which just means I'm going to be raising and re-raising when he's in hands. I'm going to play more hands with him than anyone else at the table, and we're just going to try to create some action with this player. Before we get going in this hand, just remember that I warned him I was going to raise him over and over and over.
Hey, man. Hey, y'all making this all about funny.
It's a friendly game.
I 3-bet ace-8 suited to $75. I'm hoping to get heads up with the player on my right. Play a pot in position with a suited ace. In position, we should have an advantage because we'll make better decisions with more information. If he folds pre-flop, that's fine too. But I really just want to get in this guy's head. Just raise him over and over all night long, just like I said I would. See if he starts making mistakes. He already plays too many hands. See if he calls even lighter, or maybe he tries to bluff me.
That ace you got ain't good.
If you go to charity, you have to be patient.
Okay, we flop an 8, not too bad. We have a backdoor flush draw, being that the king of spades is on board, and our opponent just bets right into us. Most of the time when people do this, this is a weak type of hand. He might have a king, but it might not have a good kicker. I just rip it in here, put the pressure on him, make him make a decision. I actually expect him to fold most of the time here, but if he has a king, he's probably going to make a call, and he does call. Let's go once.
Going to the chair.
I turn a flush draw. 2 pair on the river.
Super. Come together, baby. Come together. I thought that boy had ace king, man. Wow. Wow, I thought I was dead in the water right there. Ooh. Wow, I thought he had king ace.
Why can you make a call?
400 and
You don't, do you, look when I be making major calls. Do you really want me to call you? I'll be calling real calls.
On that last hand, yeah.
Well, if I call you, then that means it's going to be, I win the pot.
Alright, he got us good on that one. We're going to have to keep firing at this guy, make him play pots with king jack offsuit, out of position. That's actually what we want, so we're just going to keep it up. Raise, re-raise, put pressure on him.
Let's see what these blue cards could do.
Yes, let's see what these blue cards can do. We have king, queen suited. Middle position. Early to middle. Gonna raise it up to $40. Player on our left, or two to our left, 3-bets us, but he doesn't make it very big. He makes it $85. I don't know exactly what he's trying to do here. Actually, this would be a good raise size if he was targeting me, but the player on his left cold calls, so now we have 3 of us playing a 3-bet pot. This is a good hand to play even against a re-raise. And we flop nothing. We have a backdoor flush draw, 2 overs, so it's not a horrible hand. I'm just gonna check. He is taking a while to think about his bet sizing. I'm not sure what he's thinking about so long for, but he does bet 125. It's a decent size. The player on his left calls, and I decide to call, which I actually think is a really bad play. I can save this move for when I'm in position. I shouldn't be doing this out of position. I turn a flush draw, and it goes check, check, check really fast. There's no way either of these players has an overpair checking that turn. Hopefully they don't have diamonds because I'm about to rep diamonds, but this is a really good board, a really good river for me to rep as the out of position caller, probably having some sort of draw. I could have a straight, I could have a flush. I could occasionally have a ace-4 in my hand for trips. So I'm just gonna bet out $350. The player who 3-bet us pre-flop tanks for at least 2 minutes. Once he cuts out a call on the side and continues to think, I know we're done, I know we're losing this hand. I've highlighted here in yellow the only hands that the pre-flop 3-better can now have after checking back the turn. They do consist of a few jacks that are pot controlling, and then some pocket pairs that are under the jacks, such as 10s, 9s, 8s, and 7s. These are the only hands he can now have. He ends up calling, and then the player on his left overcalls. She's all in for 200. We see pocket aces and pocket kings? What is going on? I mean, I'm glad they let me draw to my flush, but why aren't these hands betting the turn? And we jump now to the player on my right winning a huge hand. This is exactly what we wanted. He didn't win it against us, so that's good. I'm actually down a little bit in this session at this point, but I have black chips sitting in my pocket, $100 chips, that I'm just waiting to put on the table when this guy wins a big hand. This card room allows you to buy in for whatever the big stack is, which means I'm allowed to top off to match whatever he has. You're actually gonna hear me discuss this with the player on my left.
Bluffing. What he had?
I had the best hand.
Oh, did he show?
No, but I'm sure he didn't.
He said 2 pair. I didn't even get to see. I paid a lot of money. I want to see this. How y'all know this man had 2 pair? I was trying to skip it with the 2 pair.
So this 800 plus 500.
He's not going to say
A little over 1,000.
But I called it 325. I could have had the straight out.
And I immediately top off to make sure I have $1,100 in my stack. For this next hand, we're going back to all talk mode where you're gonna hear some of the table talk and banter.
You gonna raise my big one? Table, why do you hate me? Why you hate me? Why you hate me?
He said, why? See, I was just scared you see what you were going to act.
I go over and set him on tilt like a second.
Who's raised?
Oh,
I'm pissed off.
Get something in there.
a big giant of a guy.
Oh, Lord.
You're already out, bud. Raised.
Oh, goddamn. This ain't good at all. Wow.
You ain't gonna say nothing?
I did say so. I said, wow.
He said, wow. he said, oh,
I'll show you one, you show me one.
you don't like that.
Kill it.
Okay, this is exactly what we've been setting up. The raises before, the re-raises, the talk, telling him I'm gonna do this over and over. They are for this moment right here when we actually have a premium hand or pretty close to it. And we miss everything. Still okay. Okay, we have 2 overs. We still beat all the other aces he might have.
I'm trying to, so you don't lose all your money, man. I'm really trying to be nice because you lost a lot of money already. I got you covered anyway. I'm gonna check.
200.
Boom! We hit our ace. We are definitely in the lead here, unless somehow this guy has a set that he flopped. He's gonna lead right out into us, which is a perfect scenario. There's nothing better than hitting your card and a player leading into you. I started thinking about whether I should slow play this hand, just call, let him do something on the river, but then I just reminded myself, this is the target, this is the guy I'm going after. I've been raising and re-raising him all night long so that he wouldn't believe me when I finally have a hand. And I have a hand. There's no reason I should stop now, so I re-raised to $400. He went into the tank for a really long time. I actually ended up calling the clock, which I almost never do. And in this case, it was actually just strategic. I wanted him to think that I wanted him to fold and I wanted him to make a quick decision, but that wasn't the case.
All in. Okay. On the back.
You got an ace queen. Wow. I played with this dude, man. I thought maybe he might have had ace king. I was like, would he raise 145 with ace king? Wow. Played around with this dude, man. I had this dude all along. Being generous, man. Let this dude catch this ace on my ass. Wow. Wow. Played around, man. Played around. He was bluffing me, and I was the one who had the hand. I was like, wow, I played with this dude, man. Let this dude catch the ace. He raised me on the ace on the flop. I should have went all in then. He couldn't have called me right there. Wow.
We felt him in that hand, and we get back the money we lost earlier, plus some. Now he's in the part of the night where he's gonna rebuy for $100 about 10 times. Under the gun, I got pocket kings. We have a button straddle of 6, so action goes from the small blind to the big blind, who of course called. I make it 30 to go. It folds around to the cutoff, who's running amazing and makes it 80. This is the tightest player in the entire game, and like I said, he's been running hot, but he did recently lose about half of his stack. He has about 800 in front of him, but he had 1,500 to 2,000 not too long ago. I'm not gonna slow down. I 4-bet to 280. I'm willing to get it in here. Let's just jump back to the live action.
All of it.
Oh, we finally got it all in. 2 monsters. 2 big stacks. 2 big boys.
All right, guys, no more action.
It's gonna get crazy. 2 big boys. Oh, this might have, that was me. I had 10-6. Oh, that was me. 10-6, that was me.
It runs out clean and he mucks his hand. I'm not sure if he had something like pocket queens, but he kind of acted later in the night like he felt like he had made a mistake and that losing the hands prior had affected that, so I'm not exactly sure what happened in that hand. Although I normally raise almost every time I come into a pot, with the player on my right limping in and I am still targeting him, I just want to see a flop with deuces. We get a late position raise to $20 and everyone goes to the flop. There's my deuce. We flop a deuce. This is a pretty coordinated board. We have straight draws and flush draws possible, and a million people are in this hand. I decided in this hand I actually wanted to lead out. I don't want this hand to be checked around and a 10, queen, 9, or any heart comes on the turn and then I don't know what to do. So I lead out for $40. It gets around to the pre-flop raiser who re-raises to 200. This is a great spot. If he has pocket jacks, he's just getting all the money. And now the big blind goes all in. Okay, maybe he's gonna have pocket eights and it's gonna be set over set over set, but we're not folding. I've gotten the best possible action for my hand, if it's the best hand. I see no reason for just calling. I take a while, act like I'm thinking about what to do, and I ship it in. I've got the late position raiser covered. He's got about $800. He decides to fold. I probably just need to dodge hearts and straight cards. No hearts. Show a set, and he doesn't show anything. He mucks his hand, and we pick up the pot. The late position raiser tells everyone now that he had pocket aces. There was an ace on the river. He made a great fold, but if he had made a bad call, he would have got me.
I think if I gave Dewey $100, he'd go away.
Sometimes in poker, you have to get creative. We've got a scenario now where the target only has $50 and it doesn't seem like he's going to buy in for much more. I've got a friend behind me waiting to play who wants to put $1,500 on the table. I'd much rather have the $1,500 on the table and my friend playing than trying to win this dude's $50. So I'm going to make him an offer.
That's the
If I give you $100, will you leave? So my friend can sit down? You win $100, boom, like that.
25.
Damn. Give me $100. I'll look.
Man, I feel like that's an insult.
Okay.
You want this friend to play?
My friend has a lot of money in his pocket.
You want to take his money?
So how is that gonna help me though?
You get $100.
You said he got a lot of money, but
Do you not understand?
I understand.
Just say no then.
He told me his friend got a lot of money. It's like, how do I make any money out there?
He wants to give you $100.
Yeah,
He wants him to
$100.
sit down because he's got more money to play. Is what he's saying.
$100 ain't gonna help my situation and how the money I'm in the hole right now.
He's just saying that he would rather.
Well, that didn't work, so now I'm just going to have to bust this dude so my friend could get into the game.
30.
So did I.
Right your back to the back. There you go.
Good luck.
5. Ace king.
Wow.
No. King jack. Two jacks with no spades.
So I bust him again, but the bad news is he buys in for only $100. But there is good news because my friend got an open seat in the game. You can tell he's my friend because he's wearing a Razor hoodie. Check out my website, razorclothing.com, for poker t-shirts, hats, and hoodies. Like I said, my buddy gets into the game and he immediately raises to $15. We look down at pocket fours and we want to see a flop with this hand. Maybe we can flop a set and bust him. Oh, we flop a set. Although this board has 2 hearts on it, just like the pocket deuces hand did, this is a different scenario. He raised pre-flop. I'm not as concerned about him having the straight and flush combos. I decide just to flat here. The turn is a safe card. Maybe this is time to put in a raise. Let's see if he's gonna make another bet. He does, he bets $75. Sometimes when you're playing against your friends, you have to mix it up a little bit with how you would normally play a hand. I would have almost always raised this flop with a set, but against my friend, I think I decided to mix it up a little bit. And I'm gonna raise the turn, which is kind of a weird raise, which is why it takes a while to think about it, and he calls the 200. That's a good river for me. Hopefully he doesn't actually think my hand is stronger than it is and put me on some sort of straight, because we're going to make a big bet on the river. He checked pretty quickly when the 7 hit the river, so now it's on me. I decided to go with $525 as the bet. It's a big bet. This is a big pot. It probably got a little bit bigger than he was expecting. I would assume he has some sort of one pair hand. He could even have aces or kings and play it this way, but ace queen makes a lot of sense, or king queen. Let's see what he does. Is he going all in? No, he just calls. I show my set, and he says we're good. He told me later he had ace queen of hearts, which means if I had raised the flop, we actually could have gotten it all in and I could have scooped the whole stack. Oh well. And now, this is what my stack looks like. You can also see the camera that I'm recording with. So if you keep seeing my hand getting in the way of the camera lens, it's because I'm reaching for these chips up here. Well, the mouth is now gone, we're short-handed, and we changed the game to 5-5 just so we didn't have to deal with any ones. Got 5 players, and I'm on the button with a $10 button straddle. Everybody limps in. I look down at 7 deuce, and mostly I just thought this would be funny. If I raised it here, everybody folded and I showed it. So I make it $75. The small blind calls, we get 2 folds and another call. So now we're actually going to play a pot with 7 deuce offsuit. Well, I flop a 7, so that's a good start. If it checks to me, I'm definitely going to c-bet and just hope that they fold. They both check, and I bet 130. I'm pretty much just trying to end this hand right here so I can still flip it over and be like, haha, 7 deuce, isn't that hilarious? This guy's not having it though. He calls 130. The turn is the deuce. Now we probably have the best hand here almost all the time.
You have like 4 or 5 of them? Okay. That's good, that's good, that's good.
He has about 300 left, so I'm just gonna do a little overbet of 500. I actually want him to call. He's ready to go. He puts everything in there, even the tip chips for some reason, and I show him the bad news. He shows Jack 9. He's got some outs, but an ace isn't one of them. After teaching that guy about the hammer, we're now 4-handed. Still playing 5-5. I love playing these short-handed sessions. I do really well in them. I look down at ace-6 suited. This is basically a monster 4-handed. I don't normally play these hands in a full ring game, but when you're 4-handed, this is the kind of hand you want to see. The button calls us and we go to a flop. No pair, but 2 spades on the flop. Definitely gonna c-bet this, and I bet $50. My opponent calls. Let's see a turn. It's not a spade. I want to keep betting in this hand, and the player I'm playing against is pretty sticky, so I'm not gonna try to blow him off of his hand. I'm just gonna make a bet to build a pot so that if I hit an ace or a spade on the river, I can decide how big to bet. Boom, we hit our spade. So now his most likely holding is a 1-pair hand, maybe a queen. So I'm gonna size it based on that. And I decide to go with 400. He snap calls, I show my hand and he flips up deuces. Oh, that 9 of spades paired the board. He has a full house. In the moment, I didn't realize that that 9 of spades paired the board, but if I had, I actually would have bet the same. At the end of recording this session, I actually ran out of space on my memory card and I missed a huge hand. I had King 10 on King 10-5 against pocket 10s and lost 1,700. It went to the same guy that had deuces with my ace-6 hand, so he went over $2,000 from me at the end of the night, and I actually ended up losing $900 on the session. If you liked this video, please hit the subscribe button so that I know I should make more of these.